Social Justice Goblin! Welcome to the Breakfast Nook! Getting my workout in. Look at his ugly nose. Alright, so I finally managed to get to the comic book shop and I made some comic book purchases. I have one more comic book purchase that I want to talk about, but I want to save that for a little bit later because I put it on display immediately. So, I bought 4 new Golden Age books at the comic book shop, and I looked at their Disney section, and they added some new Disney to there, and there's Pixelated Parrot there, there's the Scotland one, and there's a couple others in there, but it's like cool stories, like, you know, cool Uncle Scrooge stories that that have cult following. And I can get the original one. So the first comic that I bought, which I haven't read yet, is Target Comic number 7, Volume 7, Issue number 1. Yeah, it kind of that throws you off there. Number 7, number 1 throws you off on that. But I went on mycomicbookshop.com and looked up this comic book and found it. And it is definitely Golden Age, definitely from 47, actually. Not 46. But it was the cover that drew me to this. I haven't read it yet. It has a superhero story in it about Target and the Targets. And I'm looking forward to reading it. And it's just the cover, though. Look at this. I mean, this guy's coming in and this guy's dropping tar right on him. I mean, just like totally like evil, sinister, like kind of gruesome when you think about it. I mean, it's like it drew me in. It was like that's not an EC comic. That's not like some 80s horror comics, because that has the same, and the art style is just so different. It's not so traditional Golden Age, but inside it looks like traditional Golden Age. The next one, this was I'm gonna buy up all the true crime books they have in comics. They have all the crime comics they have at the shop at Austin Comics and Books, but it's not. I'm not in any rush, so it's like, oh, I'll buy this one and then I'll buy that one, because they only have one more. So, anyways, this one is Crime Must Pay the Penalty. So, penalty in big letters, as you can see right there. Penalty, as you can see in big letters right there. But crime. And if we come across here, there's comic code. So now, if you know your comic code, this is a violation of the comic code. Because you can't put crime in the title of your comic book. That was agreed as a banned item, and that was put as in the comic code. So long story short, this is early code. So this is when I think Golden Age, this is Golden Age because not just because it's from the 40s, but also because it's pre-code. And this is definitely post-code. This is definitely post-code. So this would be kind of in starting of the Silver Age. This is early. This is really early evidence of Silver Age. Because, you know, when things convert to Silver Age is up for debate and things like that. So to understand Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and Modern, even though Modern is huge, because we haven't updated the terms for comics lately. And 80s and 90s comics are now becoming more in demand. But there's eras of comic books. So the first era of comic books, from 1930 till about 1953, when the code came out, was the Golden Age of comics. These are the oldest of the oldest comic books. These are the rare, valuable ones. And this is where like Action Comic number 1 comes from. This is where Batman number 1 comes from. This is where Detective Comics number 27 comes from. This is where all the great books come from. So long story short, it's the oldest of the oldest comic books, and that's why I love collecting them, because it was such an interesting era, because comics in that era matured as they started to get older. As you get to the late gold age, you get some incredible work. You get EC Comics, you get the true crime stuff, which was incredible work first day. You get The Spirit came out back then. I mean, along with all the great early DC work. I mean, this was the early Superman stuff when Superman was a leftist. Then you have the Silver Age, which was the next, like, from the early 50s until 70s. Like, about 1970 gets cut off. About 1960s, somewhere in the late 60s, early 70s, it gets cut off. And that era was where we got introduced to Spider-Man and Marvel Comics, and comics completely changed, and superhero comics went from being kind of a forgotten genre to being the genre with Fantastic Four #1. And Showcase #4 is considered the start of the Silver Age for DC Comics. And so, and where Silver Age starts is where Silver Age. So, like, when I said this is early Silver Age, this is like the earliest. This is like early code, because that would not survive the code. Because you can see it when you see Crime Doesn't Pay. You can see it with Crime Doesn't Pay, because there are code. I have one that has a code on it. So I'm gonna read that, and it's gonna be interesting. The next one I picked up. And then the 70s books are bronze up to like 85. And then after 85 and on is modern. Okay, so the next one I picked up is A Date with Judy, which is... So I've been collecting the TV comic books, even though after reading the Bob Hope, I was kind of like, But still, if I saw Jackie Gleason, I'd pick it up. So anyways, A Date with Judy is radio's famous coast-to-coast favorite. So A Date with Judy is a radio show with this girl named Judy. So I was like, oh, cool. So they did a tie-in with a radio show as a comic book. So I had to pick it up because it goes along with all my other theme of... Because, like, one day I might want to do a theme of TV comic books. And this goes perfect with it from DC Comics, though, only. Because DC Comics did a lot of licensed books, and this is one of their early licensed books. So it was really cool to find a licensed book. Really cool, and I love that. And the last one I picked up was, so Famous Funnies, for those that don't know, was the first comic book. Famous Funnies #1. I have a lead on Famous Funnies #4, the 4th comic book issue ever published. So that's, but anyways, I was like, when I saw this, I was like, I gotta get it. But then I was looking at it, it's like 160, it's mid-50s, it's comic book reprints, because it's all comic strip reprints in color, but it's just such a great cover that I couldn't resist, and I wanted to have something from the Famous Funnies line in my Golden Age collection, and it goes well with my Golden Age collection. So this gets added to my Golden Age collection. And what makes this Judge Judy is, this is also Golden Age. Okay, so that was my purchases this past day. Am I gonna make more comic book purchases? I don't know. I'm getting my collector highlight video together of my things, because I want to kick off my collection videos, but I'm still getting used to doing YouTube again and writing my journals down. All right? Love you all. Take care. Bye-bye.